All right, let's move on to the East. Indiana, a historic offensive performance versus a shorthanded Knicks team. I mean, 67% from the field. That has literally never been done before. I mean, that is bananas in a play. I think it's in any playoff game, certainly in a game 7. 54% from 3, 6 players in double figures. Halliburton, who has had an uneven series, dropped 26. Siakam dropped 20. And I just want to give them their due first, because I know we're going to talk about the Knicks' health and the Knicks are the team everyone talks about. But to walk into Madison Square Garden in a game 7 and be a young team that most of the guys have never played in a game 7 in that situation before and stand up the way they did, I don't care who's on the other end and how beat up they are. I thought that was super impressive. The confidence that they came in with, the belief and the activity. You know, game 7s in some ways are can kind of be crazy and all over the place. And they kept their focus and concentration. They played their game, the pace of it, the way they were playing. So I just want to make sure people appreciate that this was a very hard thing to do, no matter what was going on with the Knicks. And then, of course, on the other side, the Knicks had some health problems. To the understatement of the year, when OG Anunoby came out for warmups, it did not look good. And then when the game started, he just couldn't defend. And he scored 5 points in the first few minutes and gave them a little boost on offense. But when the Pacers went at him on the other end, they were 4 for 4 against him, and he had to come out. So I don't know. What do you guys make of that game overall and sort of how the Pacers won?
I think they played to their strengths, which is, their youth and their speed. And I think they realized that this Knicks team was starting to wear down. So I think they continued to put their foot on the gas, and they made the best of their situation, which led to them being successful. Obviously, coming into this series, I thought the Knicks were the favorite to come out, but I mean, you hate to kick a man while he's down, but this is a typical Tibs movie. Like it's like going to see a Fast and the Furious movie. You know exactly what the fuck's gonna happen at the end of that shit. So
I know, but those are still really good movies.
You're still gonna go watch it, but you know exactly what's gonna happen, bro. So
yeah,
it's like, man, I felt like this series was the Knicks to win. It's just, history repeats itself, which we said before. It's just not a recipe for success. I mean, playing 7 guys an entire playoff run, that's really, really hard to do. And at the end of the day, these guys aren't machines. They're human beings. Like, we wear down. That's just, it's a natural thing. It's natural instinct. Like, your body wears down, your energy wears down. It happens. And Tibbs got to figure out a new recipe, man. Like, you can't keep cooking out of the same cookbook, bro, and expecting, a different flavor. Like, it's gonna be the same thing over and over and over again. So, you obviously want to give credit to this Pacers team, but I think the Knicks lost this series. I don't think the Pacers went and won it. I just think the Knicks went and lost this series, and that's how it played out.
For sure. I give a shout out to the Pacers, though. They the crazy thing about game 7s, it's like the NCAA tournament, like that one day, like somebody can be on fire, like somebody can have a career night, like that. Those game 7s are so tough because anything can happen, and it's one game. And that's what Indiana did. Like, they stuck to what they were great at. We're going to push the pace, try to score 130 points, which they did, and then see if the Knicks can keep up. Like, Indiana hit shots, and I think that's what gave them their energy. And they knew the Knicks was down bad. They knew, like, at the end of the day, like Boog said, like, they're human. Like, we're going to see if they can play catch up the whole game. We're going to see if they can run with us the whole game. And they did that. And it backfired on the Knicks. Obviously, they had injuries, but, like, that's tough to do what they did. Like, they got to make some real adjustments. They got to add. I feel like they got to add a star player to take some responsibility off of, Jalen Brunson, because he had a lot. Like, he did his thing in the playoffs, but he played a lot of minutes. And like we've seen time and time again, it doesn't last as long as you need it to. Like, even if they won that series and was going to play the Celtics. That was going to be tough to play 6 to 7 guys that many minutes against a team well equipped like them. So at some point it was going to die down, and it just bit them in the behind. Game 7 at home. Like, you never thought the Knicks would lose a Game 7 at home with all those celebrities in the building.
That's,
Like you thought it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. How many people was in the building? So it was a tough situation for the Knicks to go out like that. But like we always said, like, it was going to end like that at some point, just because those guys are human, and they got no rest, and they had some major injuries, like some pivotal injuries that you just can't fight through.
And to piggyback off of that, like,
go ahead.
Sorry, Rach, but to piggyback off of that, you don't want to sit here and just put this narrative on Tibs like he injures his players, but the fact of the matter is, one, when you play guys that many minutes, it obviously increases the risk of injury. Like, so that's just how they go hand in hand. On top of that, Tibbs has, this is no knock, outside of Jalen Brunson, Tibbs has a team full of role players. Like, so it's only so far those guys can take you. To expect and I love DiVincenzo. He was a teammate of mine. He's a great teammate. He's a talent.
He's
he
gonna
worked
get paid
his tail
too.
off. He is. But he's not a 20-point per game scorer. Like, that's not who he is. The offensive bag just isn't deep enough. And to expect him to average 20, 25 on top of being a guy playing 48 minutes, Jalen Brunson playing 48 minutes, he has to average 40 just for you to have a chance at winning the game. Those just aren't, that's not realistic. Like, so the point I was going to make, I do like this Knicks team. I do think they have a great foundation right now, and I do think they have a bright future. But I think going into the offseason, they're going to have to make some important changes, not just like draft. They have to make important changes, and I think it's some guys out there that fit into that, that culture and that style of play. And I think it starts with a wing scorer to take some of the pressure off Brunson. You got guys like Bradley Beal, and even though he has a trade clause in his deal, I'm pretty sure he'll be open to going to the Knicks to play there. You obviously got a guy, and Jimmy Butler is not. I don't think the paradise is shining as much as it was in Miami at one point. Pat Riley came out with some pretty wild, comments. Jimmy Butler has a history with Tibbs, so you can see a guy like that fitting in well. So I do think they can make some, changes in the offseason that'll get them over the hump and improve this team drastically. But, it's gonna take them making some really important decisions this offseason.
Well, look, when you look at the Tibbs factor and the injuries and all of that, I think it's both is the answer, because Tibbs has not made the conference finals since 2011, 13 years, and he's only missed 1 year of that coaching. So clearly there is something about the way he plays his guys, because he's an excellent X and O coach. The adjustments he made throughout the series were great. He just has had a reputation with running those players into the ground. It's why he is voted again. I think it was the third year in a row when they did the players survey. He was voted the coach that players who don't play on the Knicks currently would least like to play for. Now, his team loves him. That's kind of all you need. But around the league, I think guys see the minutes that he puts on these guys during the year, and they don't want to have their careers affected by that. So that's all real. However, I want to make the point that these injuries this year, I don't think they had much to do with being run into the ground. Julius Randle hurt his shoulder when someone fell on him. We had, I'm going to go through these. Mitchell Robinson, as we saw with the Joel Embiid incident, that's not an overuse injury, right? Julius Randle got hurt after taking a charge. Bojan Bogdanovic, someone fell on him. Even in this last game, Jalen Brunson broke his hand in this game when he was trying to make a steal. That is not an overuse injury. Now, OG Anunoby, hamstrings, those are overuse. So you can point to that one. But I do think that there was just a lot of bad luck with how a bunch of these guys got injured. And that's why he ended up playing these guys so much in the playoffs, because there just wasn't anyone left. He had to kind of put everyone out there. And I just think we have to keep that in mind when we talk about the Knicks this year and Tibs and his reputation and what he did or didn't do. Most of those injuries came with incidents that happened on the court, not sort of that overuse thing where we saw OG just kind of like him give out on a play. And that's different. But I think we have to remember how a lot of these guys got hurt. So there's that. And then you guys talking about what the Knicks need going forward. IT, what do you think Julius Randle's role on this team is going to be once he gets healthy?
I'm not sure. Like, you know how quick the NBA turns on you. It's tough. Like, he's an all NBA type of guy, all star. But it's like, if we got this far without him, like, you think we could push it a little further? Like, I'm not sure what they got in mind for a guy like Julius Randle. Hopefully he stays and he's still in the mix with the Knicks, because he definitely makes, like, if they had him, I think it would have been tougher for Indiana to win for sure. But you just never know how they look at it. Like, Julius Randle is a special talent, but you know how the teams are. Like, it's like, what have you done for me lately? Especially if you've been injured. It can be that we might have seen him play his last game in the Knicks uniform. You just never know. Like, I'm not guaranteeing that. Like, I know he does make the Knicks better, but is that in the Knicks' future plans? Like, so I'm not sure what they do. Like Boog said, like, I feel like you definitely need a wing scorer and a guy that can defend as well. Like, and to take some responsibility off of Jalen Brunson, because he has to do everything. And like Boog said as well, I don't want Dante and Josh Hart to have to do all these things that they're doing. Like, their games ain't meant to play 47 minutes and get 20 to 25 points a game. That's not what they're built to do. Obviously, they can do that, but for you to be a championship caliber team, those guys don't need to be doing those things on a nightly basis. So the Knicks have a lot of decisions to make. Hopefully Julius Randle is in the plans, because he's a hell of a player, all-star caliber player. But you just never know what their thoughts are moving forward.
You think he plays for the Knicks next season, Boog?
No. No.
Oh, man.
Style of play thing, or?
Like IT said, the NBA moves quickly and they turn on you quickly. We've both experienced it. One day you can be at the mountaintop, the next day, you're out of their plans, or, we're moving in a different direction, or you don't really fit the style of the team. So I definitely think obviously there's a chance he could be back, but I feel like he's in a gray area right now. And I don't think the Knicks really know what they want to do moving forward yet. But I don't think they're in the worst situation. Obviously, you have your star in Jalen Brunson. I think this team, I think they do know who they want to build around, which is the more important decision, which is Jalen Brunson. But who you put around him is going to be very important. And that's why I said they have some very important decisions to make this offseason.
Well, look, some of the guys you brought up would have to come through trade. You didn't mention any free agents, so maybe Julius Randle gets thrown into one of those packages. We'll have to see, but it is going to be an interesting offseason.
It might be better for him to get up out of there too.
It might be.
I think so.
It might be a better situation for him. So he ain't fighting against being the leader of the team, fighting against being the man. And then he's been injured the last 2 years, like season-ending injuries. So like you might want a new fresh. Some fresh air somewhere else. But you like you guys say, you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
I just want my guy to be healthy. I just want him to be healthy and get back right.
Yes. Have you ever wondered if Chet Holmgren might be a descendant of Abraham Lincoln? Or if a UFC fighter could beat an alien in a fight? Well, maybe you haven't, and that's okay. But Shea Serrano and Jason Concepcion from Six Trophies, well, they certainly have. If you're like me and you like to listen to as many good basketball podcasts as you can, After you're done listening to Bully Ball, you gotta listen to Six Trophies. Every week, Shay and Jason serve up the biggest moments from around the NBA with their patented mix of joy, banter, pop culture side quests. They also hand out 6 pop culture themed trophies for 6 basketball related activities. Stuff like the Denzel Washington in Training Day trophy that's given out to a player or team having the best week around the NBA, or the Lauryn Hill You Might Win Some, but You Just Lost One trophy for the team or player that just can't get it together. Plus a bunch more trophies for all the good, bad, or just plain head-scratching moments around the NBA. So follow Bully Ball, but also follow 6 Trophies on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Or you can listen ad-free by joining Wondery Plus.